Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Patrick Dennis, and I'm here to talk to you about Topaz APM solution. Very excited about this product. It's going to really help impact your business in a positive way. Why Mercury Interactive? You guys are probably using many tools to monitor the different silos of your application environment. You probably have a tool to monitor the network portion. Your database guys probably have a tool to monitor the databases, and the same with your app servers and your web servers. Well, this is very good data to collect, but there's some key fundamental things that are not being provided to you with that method of monitoring. You need the ability to obtain end-to-end visibility of your business processes. There's also a need to streamline the communication between the lines of business and the IT personnel and your customers, because who does IT support? It supports the line of business and supports the business processes which the customers use. You also need the ability to prioritize the allocation of resources according to the business impact. How are the allocation of these resources going to best benefit the performance of my application? There's also a need to measure and manage application service levels. Okay, because at the end of the day, how do we continue to generate revenue is by managing those application service levels. How does Mercury Interactive accomplish this? What's different about us than the silo monitors? We actually simulate end users performing these critical business processes that you guys use to run your business, and in doing that, we cut across all silos in the application. Okay, so by doing exactly what the end users are doing, we're touching every piece of the application, just like the end users are. Hence, when there's a performance problem affecting your users, you're going to know about it. And simultaneously, we're monitoring all the silos as well, without the use of agents. Okay, so there's nothing that you need to install to further impede your application infrastructure. Okay, so we're cutting across all the silos, gathering data from the silos, from the individual silos, and then correlating that data. End user performance correlated with system-specific metrics. The Topaz availability screen displays a high-level view of the health of your business. This is a real-time view aligning business processes with users, depicted by the little person icon, and business processes with systems, depicted by the computer icon. And as you can see here, our workbench line of business is showing that there is an end user performance impact, but there's no silo problem. If you were simply monitoring the individual silos, you would have never detected that end user problem. Okay. And as we can see in this journal application, there is a memory problem on one of the machines, but it's not really affecting any end users. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So this is a real-time, high-level view of your business and all the lines of business contained within. And it's also a living contract between IT and the lines of business. Okay. So we noticed we had a problem with our workbench application. So let's take a look and see what business processes or what services that were provided that this is affecting. This business view provides just that. It provides a view into how your users are being affected, what systems are being affected, and what help desk personnel have been taking on correcting those problems. Okay. So high-level picture of the business itself. Okay. So we can see here, online banking, there is user impact. Someone at help desk has taken ownership of the problem, but there's minimal systems things to look at. Okay. The customer view allows you to take that same data and show you what customers are being affected by these services having poor performance. We've got a list of our customers, we've got a list of impact, and we've got a list of type of customer. This is very important because if you've got a high priority customer and a low priority customer both having user impact, you want to take care of that high priority customer first. So this allows you to prioritize how you allocate the resources to address different issues. Okay. The SLM screen allows you to track service levels in real time. So we've identified that we have an issue. Let's take a look and see how this is impacting our service level agreements. How long can we stay in this state before we begin to breach SLAs? We can look at the past history of SLMs and have they been breached in this current time period. In the current state, this PNR, that's an acronym for point of no return. How much leverage do we have? How much room do we have for performance issues and outages before we breach an SLA? We can look at the real-time availability and performance metrics as well in this screen. So real-time proactive monitoring of your service level agreements is what this SLM tab shows you. Okay. What we have here in this executive scorecard that grades our actual performance with our SLAs. And immediately, just by looking at the screen without going into detail, you can see that the finance application under the Yahoo portal service has not met its objectives. It's not met its service level objectives. Okay? And we can see that by the red X's. Red in any application means bad, and I can immediately see that. There's also a grading system that's defined by the user that tells how to grade the performance, even if our service levels were met. And as an executive, I would want to drill down into that and see what part of the finance application under the Yahoo service is causing me not to meet my service level objectives. So let's drill down into that. On the service status screen provides granularity into portions of my business application. And with this granularity, I can drill down and see which pieces of my application are not meeting the service level objectives. And as you can see, the login, search stock, and buy stock are both subpar according to my service level objectives, my response time objectives. Okay, so I can quickly see that these are the pieces that I need to focus in on and assign resources to bring them back up to snuff and begin meeting my service level objectives again. Okay. This time range comparison screen allows me to trend different time periods and compare them. This comes in handy with capacity planning, validating changes to my infrastructure or to my application, things of that nature, justifying my IT spending. Maybe I feel the need for more servers and I put in a couple and I want to see did that really have a positive impact on my application performance. Okay, so as you can see here, this week I was having poor performance, but this next week my performance is an upward trend. Okay. It's time interval definition. As you guys know, SLAs are not always 24/7, and sometimes they are. This time interval definition allows you to specify what hours or what days or the combination of the two that my service level agreement is effective. Okay. And I can have multiple definitions here. The downtime event scheduler allows me to, before or after the fact, make exceptions to my service level agreement. Maybe there was a planned upgrade of a service pack across all my machines, which was going to cause some downtime. I don't want to include that time in my service level agreement reports. So I can use this mechanism to make exceptions to my SLA. Okay, so what I've shown you so far is what Mercury's approach is to effective monitoring and aligning IT with the business. I've shown you how you can manage your SLAs using our product. And I've shown you how to get a high-level view of the health and wealth of your business. Any questions so far? Does all that make sense? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is take you through what an operator would do using Topaz to first identify an end-user performance problem, and then drill that down and narrow down as much as possible what the possible suspects could be to the cause of that performance issue. What we see here, we have an application cockpit. And what that means is it's a view of my line of business. My applications, which are depicted by the two sections on the top. My supporting infrastructure metrics, which is depicted by the system monitors here. So these are monitors that are monitoring the boxes that are serving up those two applications. And any alerts that I've received for any of these metrics. Okay, so you got your services, your underlying infrastructure, and your alerts. And very quickly, we can see that I'm having a performance issue on my financial application. So I really need to drill down into that and figure out what users, how many users is this performance degradation affecting. So by drilling down, I can see on this next screen, on my performance summary screen, that 33% of my end users are being impacted by this problem. That's 1/3 of my users. No business can afford to impact a third of their users with a performance issue. So I need to get this resolved really quickly. So I'll drill down a little bit further. And as you can see here, I've got a business process that consists of about 10 transactions. Each step in a business process, in Mercury terms, is defined as a transaction. And as you can see, between the 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock hours, some of my transactions were crossing critical thresholds. Okay, I can see that by the red and yellow squares in the matrix for those hours. I can also see that there was a poor response time during that same time frame. And I can quickly look at my transaction breakdown time to determine that the server, most of the times, the bulk of the time is being spent on the server. So what I've just done is quickly eliminated 50% of the possible things that could cause a performance issue. I know it's not the network, it must be something in my infrastructure, or and in this case on one of my servers. There's many servers within my environment, so I need to drill down a little bit more to figure out exactly in which silo this is causing this performance issue. So let's drill down. What I've just done is I've drilled down and I've come to the page component breakdown screen, and this shows me how long it takes to download each component on that particular transaction in my business process. As you can see here, right from the start, without even knowing what any of this stuff means, I can see that there's a huge amount of time spent here on this component, huge amount of time spent on that component. Those two components happen to be Java server pages and the Java servlet. So that immediately tells me that this is a Java problem. Okay? This is a Java problem. But with Mercury's technology, we can get down to the Java level and monitor just that component. And since we are monitoring that component, let's drill down and see what that looks like. And again, we've got another breakdown type screen, which was just breaking down the processing time of our Java layer. I can immediately see that the bulk of my time is being spent for that same time period is being spent on the EJB time and the database time. So now I've eliminated about 20% or 25% of the possible problems. Now it's time to call in the troops. If I didn't have this end-to-end monitoring, I would have had to call in all the troops, the network guys, the hardware guys, the web server guys, everybody on my team. Now I can just call in the Java experts and my database guys. Since that seems to be where my problem is, I can just call those guys in, get the issue resolved, instead of sifting through thousands of metrics to get this job done. Using our auto RCA technology, we could have asked Topaz to perform all these steps for us. Okay? By clicking on the RCA summary link, I get this root cause analysis screen. What the root cause analysis engine does, it correlates end user performance problems with back-end metrics. Okay? And it bubbles up to the top the top likely culprits for your end user problem. Okay? We have a sophisticated engine that analyzes your end user problem, what type of problem it is, and what are the most likely causes. This is very, very beneficial when you're talking about reducing the mean time to resolution. Okay? So, my PowerPoint is broken. With the space bar. Okay. So what we see here, this is a WebSphere bean object pool problem. Okay. This is our top-rated metric according to the root cause analysis engine, and we can start focusing in on that instead of. So we've taken it down to about 8 metrics, and when we started out with over thousands of metrics. Okay, so this is going to dramatically reduce our mean time to resolution. Okay. These are all the components that allow us to do this. We've got our data collectors here. You can write your own custom data collectors. You can use your existing investment in the top 4 data collectors, Tivoli, BMC. You can monitor web services, infrastructure, this is your basic system level metrics. All these data collectors, this is our end user process monitoring. All this data is fed into a central repository. This is where you get your trending and reporting, your real-time alerting, and your business process correlator, that RCA, that root cause analysis. From all this data, you can get these types of applications. We delve heavily into business availability and service level management, but you can also do real-time diagnostics. That was me clicking through and looking at all the breakdown screens and the response time. You can do end-user performance management. Do preventative diagnostic by creating warning thresholds, things of that nature. And we also offer all of this as a hosted service. Okay. We provide professional services to help you implement this correctly, efficiently, and get the most bang for your buck. Okay. So that's the Topaz platform. That's all the components involved. So what we've talked about here is how to obtain end-to-end visibility into your business processes. Okay. This is very important when it comes to decreasing the mean time to resolution. Streamlining the communication between the lines of business, IT, and your customers. Because IT should actually be run as a business, and this is the only way to accomplish that. Prioritize resources according to business impact. Okay, you want to apply your resources to the highest rated the highest ranking customers as opposed to the lowest, or the highest visible issues as opposed to a printer being out of paper. Okay, and you also want to manage. I've also shown you how to manage and measure your application service levels using the Topaz product. Okay? Managing those service levels is key to the success of any business providing these types of applications. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Very nice.